there's something wrong with our sources of entertainment nowadays. It's almost like there's no substance to it, or it's like not even that. It's so mindless. Specifically the scrolling, right? I know people that will spend hours and hours just scrolling and scrolling, and they won't remember any of what they watched. Like they'll literally remember nothing, and it's because like the scrolling, it doesn't even. You're not even like paying attention to it at a certain point. It's completely mindless. You're sitting there instinctively scrolling. And I mean, that's one of many problems with it, right? Is when you spend so much time just mindlessly stimulated, that's just not good for your brain. It like destroys your ability to think. And it just kind of keeps you distracted and always wanting more. I'll have a lot of conversations with people nowadays, and something I've noticed is that like none of them, some of them, right? Obviously that's a generalization, none of them, but a lot of them don't know about any movies. Like they haven't watched like a lot, or at least there's so many good movies out there that will like when you watch a crazy movie, when you watch something like Shutter Island and the twist happens, you have to pause the movie and just sit there for a second and think about it. Like when I watched Shutter Island at the twist, I paused it. I got like blindsided by that. I actually had to sit there for a second and just think to myself like, dang, that's crazy, right? And I can't, I've spent hours scrolling and I've never had a moment like that. So there's so much substance to some of these movies. These movies have the ability to like invoke some sort of emotion in you, whereas, doom scrolling, you're just sitting there like a fucking zombie, just making the same repetitive motion with your finger, and it's horrible. And there's not even a conclusion, right? Like with movies, when you're watching a movie, there's an ending, right? You're able to turn it off at the end because your brain has something there's a conclusion, right? There's an ending. And so when you're scrolling, right, and you're on this algorithm that goes on infinitely, it's almost like your brain has been kind of trained to look for that kind of conclusion to make some sort of sense of whatever it is that you're consuming, but there isn't one. So you're stuck like endlessly looking for a conclusion that just never comes. So that keeps you in it even longer. But no, it does kind of worry me, like the lack of movie watching people do today. There's so many like good movies out there and so many good things that come from watching movies. For one, it's like some movies you almost kind of you in a way kind of feel more in touch with things around you. Like let's say you have someone, I think isolation's something that a lot of people deal with nowadays, and when you're scrolling you're just kind of stuck mindless, right? You're not actually really thinking about anything. And I'm not saying that there's not information out there. There is, like on these short form platforms, right? If you go to TikTok and you look up a fact, you can find a bunch of different videos on some sort of fact very quickly. It's very convenient. But I'm talking more so about when people are stuck. They're just glued to the screen, right? They're not really taking anything away from that. But if you're watching a movie and let's say there's a character on there that you relate to, you start to kind of realize in a way like, oh, there's other people like that, or like, oh, like I'm not the only one that feels that way. Or you watch a movie that is about something and it resonates with you, you're like, oh yeah, that's what I think, like, oh yeah, that is an issue, and it's something along the lines of that, right? So there's, in a way, like you can be technically alone but watch a movie and feel less alone. I don't think that really happens with mindless scrolling. Okay, I'm also not saying that you should feel less alone through watching movies. I mean, you have to go outside and interact and connect with real people. But there's certain emotions that a movie can invoke that I do not think that scrolling invokes. And also, again, like these movies, like some of them you really have to sit there and just think about what you watched for a minute. You have to like digest it after consuming it. You don't have to digest short form content at all. For one, you don't even remember most of it. And two, most of it's just garbage. And now it's not to say that there's movies are garbage, right? Like there's absolutely some garbage out there. But that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, things like Shutter Island or movies like Fight Club, right? Ones that actually have some sort of meaning. More people need to watch these kind of things, And so it kind of worries me to the conversation that I have, and people just know nothing about this. Another thing about movies also, and this more so applies to like books, but it also does kind of apply to movies, is you actually have to like pay attention, right? For one, you have to use your attention span, right? If your attention span is cooked, you're not going to be able to watch a movie. But you have to actually sit there for a few hours, and then you have to understand what is going on and kind of piece it together in your mind. And then you reflect on it after. And I really just don't see this happen when people doom scroll. Like, it seriously worries me. And so, yeah, I think with movies, you at least have to put a little bit of brain effort into it, right? It's still kind of being fed to you. Whereas with a book, like, you actually have to read it and seek it out. A movie, it's still being fed to you, but you still have to at least pay attention. You know, doom scrolling has become like, it's become mindless. You're not paying attention. You're just stimulating yourself repeatedly. But yeah, I just figured this is kind of an issue. It might not be. I might be over exaggerating it, but I just figured I would comment on it.